Sauce Gardner is the press coverage king. Although he showcased a diverse skill set at Cincinnati, Gardner's length, physicality, and nuance at the line of scrimmage jumped off the tape. So let's take a look at the All-22 together, and I'll break down the secret sauce that drives Ahmad Gardner's game. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's Luke here from PLAJ, and we're going to talk about Ahmad Gardner today, and specifically just one part of his game, and that's his press coverage ability at the line of scrimmage. We're not just talking about man press, we're also talking about his ability to press bail and quarters and cover three looks that Robert Saleh will like to run. This is a match made in heaven, so let's jump straight into the film. The first clip we're going to look at here for Ahmad Gardner, he's at the bottom of your screen, and we're looking at cover one man, press technique at the line of scrimmage. What does he do well? Breaking this down technically, we're going to start with his footwork because that's where it all begins in press coverage. He's going to take a read step with his left foot, and what that does is it allows him to diagnose the release of the wide receiver. From there, Ahmad Gardner does a great job shooting his hands. He's going to lead with his right hand. Why does he do that? So his hips are to the outside. Once the receiver breaks outside after he reads from the key step, he's able to flip his hips, shoot with the inside hand so he can turn fluently, and then at 6 yards, he breaks it down in case it's a short route. And then look at the positioning. He's able to go hand to hand with the receiver and then make sure he has eyes on the football, get his head around, and right now he's in a position where no matter where this football is thrown, because of his wingspan and because of his length, Ahmad Gardner is going to intercept the ball or he's going to be there to break it up. One last thing I wanted to talk about, Ahmad Gardner's ability to squeeze. The receiver here starts at the bottom of the numbers. Look where he ends up once he's finished with his press. He's literally on the boundary. Ahmad does a fantastic job taking space away and moving the receiver outside his wingspan and putting him in an uncomfortable position. At full speed, you can see it. It's just a fantastic job from Ahmad with the press, with the hip-to-hip contact, and then being in the right position. The second example I wanted to look at is Ahmad Gardner in this quarters look, because Robert Saleh ran a fair bit of this his last year in San Francisco. So he's at the top of the screen this time, and you're going to see as we let this play unfold, after the press it ends up being that zone pedal, butt to the sideline, quarters kind of technique from the outside. But when you really get into the weeds, this is what makes this so impressive. The first thing, I understand this is a wide split, but Gardner does a fantastic job. Look how far he's able to move the receiver because of the press. He then squeezes with his body. He uses that sideline as an extra defender. And right now, you can see the chalk flying up. The receiver is literally out of bounds. Ahmad Gardner, because of the press and the squeeze, forces him out of bounds to a position where he's not eligible to touch the football. It's just a fantastic job. Looking at something a little nuanced, you can tell this is a zone press coverage rep because Ahmad Gardner shoots with his outside hands. Usually when a receiver goes for an outside release, he's going to shoot with his inside left hand so he doesn't get beaten to the outside and isn't able to turn his hips. On this occasion though, he wants eyes to the quarterback in the backfield, butt to the sideline, so he presses with the outside hand, is able to turn his hips in the opposite direction and squeeze him out of bounds. Just a fantastic job eliminating the receiver because of his press and his positioning in zone coverage. Okay, so for this rep, we're going to see Ahmad Gardner be really patient with his hands, and there's a reason for it. The first couple of clips, he was aggressive, he was in the grill of the receiver very early on in the rep. But on this occasion, on the top of your screen, he's got a bigger-bodied, slower receiver. That means he doesn't feel the urgency to get his hands on him. He takes his key step, he's able to backpedal to get into his transition, and then Ahmad stabs with the outside hand. Again, a great job being technically correct. Again, squeezes him to the sideline. Look how tight he is to the boundary, and then the ability to get his head around, he's in perfect phase, and then put himself in a position where that frame cannot be thrown over. Watching it one more time, you've got the inside hand press, squeeze to the outside, stay in phase. I mean, I just don't know how you do that any better than what Sauce did on that occasion. In this instance, again, Sauce is on the left-hand side of the Cincinnati formation in tight man press coverage. I'm going to show you why it's so important that you move your feet before your hands in press coverage. So you can see the receiver gives him this little fake stab to the inside. He shrugs the shoulders, drops his hips, and Ahmad takes his initial read step with his right foot. He's worried about the receiver ducking to the inside. But because he's patient with his hands, look at them, they're down by his knees, he shoots them after he makes the determination that he's going outside. Patience. Shoot the hands after the feet, and then look at the hip flip and the transition from Ahmad Gardner. He gets the receiver in a position that he wants. He's in control right now. The receiver tries to cut it back. Fluent athlete for a 6'2" dude on the outside. Ahmad Gardner, feet before hands, shoot them, and then flip those hips and to stay perfectly in phase. You want a little cherry on top of this play too? He's in man coverage. Right now, he's reading the quarterback. He knows he's under pressure. He sees a receiver coming across on this kind of drag route. He goes across and looks to undercut that as well and make sure the receiver doesn't throw that football. He's just got the football IQ that matches all of the athletic traits. What about the versatility of Ahmad Gardner? Let's take a look at a rep of him playing press coverage from the slot, and again doing a fantastic job manipulating the receiver where he wants him to go. So Gardner is second from the top of your screen in tight press coverage against the number 2 receiver, and you can see what he does immediately. A little 2-hand jab, but again leads with the right hand so he can flip his hips on this outside release. Once again, look at the displacement that he causes for the receiver. This split is right in between the numbers and the hashes. When Ahmad Gardner's finished doing his work, you can see him effectively force him into the second route on the outside, that little stop route. He does a fantastic job forcing and bossing the rep. He's in control. And then once it's a race, he uses that 4.38 speed. He gets in the hip pocket, and if you want to throw that ball, that's going to be Ahmad Gardner's football. He can do it from the outside, but right here, Ahmad Gardner's showing you he can do it at a very high level from the slot as well, if that's how you need to use him against a Stephon Diggs or someone similar. And then this is the last rep I want to go through. Against Alabama, huge game, high competition, left-hand side of your screen, Ahmad Gardner one-on-one, does a fantastic job moving his feet before his hands, is patient, shoots them, does a nice job feeding him to the inside. He's got safety help to the middle of the field. It's a cover 1 look. He gets him to the inside, forces the receiver to cut back to the outside. And again, look at the hip fluidity and flip for a 6'2" athlete, the ability to then put the hand on the hip to get in phase and to stop on a dime for the intermediate route. Ahmad Gardner, solid job in press coverage, gets to the chest, wins immediately, throws him to the inside, and right there, the rep's over. Ahmad Gardner has done his job. Guys, that's all I've got to say to you about Ahmad Gardner. He is fantastic in press. His ability to be patient with his hands, to move his feet first, to shoot with the correct hand. When you put that level of technique with the raw physical attributes of Sauce Gardner, you've got a special man press corner.